YouTube. Hello, YouTube. So this time, we're gonna be speed labbing one of the characters that are very rare. Very rare. Oh, speaking of Croc, here he is. But yeah, Shaheen. So this man, you'll never see him. Almost never, right? Only like 1% of the Tekken population plays this character. And I think even not even 1%, right? He's that rare. But he's also very damn strong. Very strong. I think many people underestimate how good he is. A lot of people. Just because we don't see him. But, yeah. Let's actually talk about the character, right? So, he's very different from his Tekken 7 counterpart. He's basically a whole different character. He's new. He's a new character. There's no way to say that he's the same character. The only thing that he has the same is a busted down forward 1 and like good neutral tools, right? He still has that. But everything else is way too different. Way too different. In Tekken 7 he was an honest character, considered one of the most honest characters anyway. But in this game it can't be further from the truth. This guy, this guy's crazy. Okay, let's talk about him. Let's talk about this character. So Shaheen, right? In the neutral, let's just say the neutral game. In the neutral, when it comes to Kazuya's game plan, it is still good to throw out electrics in my opinion against Shaheen, but the biggest thing about Shaheen is that he'll be able to punish your electrics on whiff a little bit easier than any other character can. Not any other, but most other characters. Like, Shaheen has a very good punishment tool with down back 2-1 in my opinion. Like, you don't need to hop kick everything or down forward 2 everything, right? But down back 2 is an amazing punishment tool from far away if you like, you know, space it correctly. It has decent range and you can also confirm it on hit. So this is a punishment tool. I mean, not only is it that, obviously, I'm going to be talking about this move a little bit later too. But this is very good, especially when it comes to punishing stuff that recover quickly. Because it's a 14 frame mid-mid, not to mention in heat, it gives this, right? A little mini combo. I think I can get a little bit more damage if I don't back 4. Maybe something else I want to do. But yeah, it's pretty decent. Down back 2-1. So you have to be careful about that. It's not that bad, but you also have to consider that Shaheen players usually don't use that many, what's it called? Slow moves. They don't use that many slow moves. Whenever they counter you, they usually jab, maybe down forward 1. Or maybe they will go full crouch to mix you up with a slide, and you know, if they go full crouch, an electric won't really work. You can force some stuff like wall running 2s, and if they do wall running 2s a lot, you can catch them, because, you know, wall running 2 is a slower move. But other than that, it's a little bit iffy. The electric keep out can still work. It's always good to keep out with electrics no matter what, but you have to basically take into consideration a lot of stuff that can happen. So something like forward 2s can be a little bit more effective, although they're slower, right? Because this will also catch them just ducking randomly just for slides. Because Shaheen players love doing that. They will duck like this in the middle of the screen just for you to panic, do something, right? So forward 2 will check something like that. That's pretty decent. Instead of electrics, forward 2. Can't work. Okay. The other stuff about Kaz is you also have to be very wary of Shaheen players just throwing around either hop kicks or down forward 2s. Because Shaheen's hop kick is one of the best in the game, and he also has a very good down forward 2. Because his down forward 2, while it doesn't have the best of ranges, it's okay as a keep out, right? Like, this is a keep out tool, definitely it's great. Because even if you blocked, it's -7, and not to mention this move has high crushing, so you have to be very careful. Not in that situation, maybe. My jab used to whiff. Maybe down forward 1, down forward 2, something like that. There's a setup for it. There we go. It has a jab crushing, basically, so I have to be careful about that as well when it comes to down forward 2. Yeah, and it's the same with these down forward 2, but yeah, let's not talk about that. So yeah, down forward 2 is amazing as keep out, you have to be wary of it. Same with hop kick, very good keep out. And they can do the same thing with down back 2, try to hit confirm it and just, you know, check you with it. Because down back 2 into stance cancel is so good, but as I said, I'm going to talk about this move a little bit later. But in the neutral, as a Kazuya game plan, you can still like go for your usual wave dash mix-ups and hell sweeps, but you have to look out for the keep out. You really gotta. And you also can't sidestep as much against Shaheen just because this busted move exists. What's the input for it? There you go, forward 4. This move is so busted. I'm gonna talk about this move a little bit later as well, but yeah, you have to be super careful about stepping Shaheen. busted ass move. Can you even combo after this? No, you cannot. I thought if you had mini dash that could combo. That would be so broken. But yeah. Have to be careful. That's about the neutral game plan. More or less neutral game plan, right? But now let's talk about Shaheen in general. So his neutral tools are usually the ones I did list. Like down forward 1, as I said, he still has an amazing down forward 1. Right? So his down forward 1, 13 frame mid check, that's -1. And this basically tracks. This is basically a tracking down forward 1. You can sidewalk it sometimes, but in a real game this just doesn't work. This just never happens. Like, I'm just perfectly sidewalking it right now, right? If I don't perfectly sidewalk it, I will block it. Or sidestep it perfectly. This is basically tracking. In the real match, you will not be stepping this most of the time. You can try, obviously, sometimes it can work, but it's basically a tracking down forward 1. More or less. Especially if they do it after something, right? If they do jab into down forward 1, it's gonna be hard to sidestep this. I actually can't sidestep it. Nah, I can't do it. And tracks. As I said, it's a tracking move. How did I step there? That was a fluke. I have no clue how I stepped there. But yeah, it's a tracking down forward 1. It's -1. And it's very, very good because of the little frames it has, right? Not little frames. The little minus frames it has. -1 is crazy for a tracking down forward 1. It's very, very strong. And the mind games it has is also very good. Because not only can he throw out the down forward 2, just like I showed, which will, you know, crush jabs. If you do jab him, this will crush. So let me just show that again. Let's say you're -1, not -1, +1, and you want to check him with jabs, right? Nope. Nope. Right? Fuck you and your jabs. Doesn't work. Sometimes it works. I don't know the condition where it works. So yeah, you have to be very careful of this. And about the down forward 2, since I'm mentioning it, you can't step it to the right, but you cannot step this to the left. It has a tracking to one side. Full tracking to one side. Gotta love it, right? When moves have tracking to one side, you gotta love it. Especially moves like down forward 2 that have jab crushing. Normal hit launchers. Gotta love it. So yeah, this down forward 2 you also have to be very careful of. This is one of the mind games after down forward 1. It's not the only mind game. You can also do down back 4 if they want to like pure high crush, right? Maybe for more damage. So if you're always checking with the jabs here, the Shaheen player might just go for, okay, fuck you, I know you're gonna jab, so I'm gonna do a down back 4. And this is gonna beat your normal 1 jab as well. It's gonna deal a lot of damage, so you have to be careful about stuff like this. So that already incentivizes you to not do jabs, right? But there's a lot of mind games when it comes to this. The Shaheen player can also jab afterwards, just so you don't check him with mids, like down forward 4 of Kazuya or any generic down forward 1. So down forward 1 to jabs are good. And jabs are also strong. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but yeah. So down forward 1 into sidestep is very, very common just because it's -1. Just like Croc said in the chat, right? Very common. Down forward 1 backdash, very common, especially down forward 1 into backdash with punish, right? Down forward 1 on block, you try something that might punish you with a hop kick or down forward 2. Stuff like this. Very, very common. So the mind games here are like super strong. I mean, super strong. And you can also loop them, you know, down forward 1, and they just continue to line the games. And what can they do? Sidestep it? No, they can't. As I said, this is basically a tracking move in a real match. Down forward 1, I can't step it. I just can't do it. Right? I can sidewalk it. Even then, it's a little bit iffy. I just got hit, yeah. And I can't backdash this either. Unless it's like a very long range hit, like something like this. I still can backdash it. Oh my goodness, the range it has. Yeah, this down forward 1 is very strong. It's one of the best down forward 1s in my opinion. It's very good, very good. It doesn't have a follow-up, which is the main weakness it has in my opinion. But it doesn't really need follow-ups because it already has such strong mind games because of the little frames, you know, -1. And because of the tracking and because of a lot of range basically. So amazing down forward 1. Let me talk about 1-2s now and jabs in general. So his jabs are also good, like jab checks, right? He's a checking character. He was a checking character Tekken 7, and he still retains some of that properties, some of those properties in Tekken 8. So he can still check well. So 1-2s are decent and 1s are decent, but especially 1-2 is amazing just because of the 1-2-2 that exists, right? So whenever you see Shaheen players do 1-2s, like you just see them throw this out, And if they see you pressing, they'll have a mental note like, okay, this guy will press after my 1-2. So they might do 1-2, delay 2, counter launch, right? So that's why Shaheen players like throwing out 1-2s. They're just checking you if you like to press after it. And they might just throw out the 2 immediately afterwards because it's so delayable, right? This mid. Not only is it delayable, it's also a counter launcher, right? This will deal a lot of damage. You have to be very careful when it comes to stuff like this. So after 1-2, you have to sometimes mash because you want to, you know, make them throw this out because it's -11 if I remember correctly. So Kazuya actually gets a back 1-2 punish on this, which is, you know, unique to him. 11 frame punish with back 1-2. Instead of doing a 10 frame punish, what normally would happen, right? But you have to be careful. For example, after 1-2 is not example, but after 1-2 you just have to be careful. So yeah, that's a 1-2s. Jabs are in general are good. Like his one jab isn't that bad. Like the range is decent, and most importantly, the vertical range is decent as well. And not to mention, he also has access to 2-1, which is also a 10 frame jab, which is a safe high mid, and it's always very good to have this, right? It's not as good as something like Jin's 2-1. Jin's 2-1 is broken basically, right? It's so strong, but it's still good to have something like this, a safe high mid. And not only that, this has a follow-up, which transitions into a 10 hit. And Shaheen players might use this to close out rounds, because no one expects this. No one, right? Who will expect this? So you have to be careful about 2-1 strings in general. It's safe, so yeah. And other than that, I think about jabs, that's it, more or less, that's it. Just have to look out for this, look out for 2-1, and look out for the 2-1 extension, the 2-1-4. Okay, so that's about checks, like normal checks, which they will do to just check you. They can also check you down forward 2s. Like they can't do it just because of how good of a move it is. If you jab check, this might, you know, crush it. And it's a normal hit launcher, tracks well to one side. And it will track really well to the other side as well if you just dash down forward 2 correctly, right? If you just realign. So you have to be very careful about the Shaheen when it comes to stuff like this. So that's when it comes to those checks. The other checks he can also do are a little bit higher risk when it comes to minus frames. They're not punishable per se, but they're a little bit higher risk. Like the check for sidesteps, for example, he has a very good check for sidesteps, is either down forward 3, so he has 2 of them. So down forward 3 is an amazing check for people stepping you because the 17 frame mid with infinite range tracking, right? This will basically never whiff. I don't know how you can make this whiff with a Shaheen player, right? Unless you really mess up your spacing. Or the opponent is just backdashing like crazy. So you have to be very careful when playing against Shaheen because the down forward 3 exists, right? But as I said, if he does choose to use something like this, the minus frames are a little bit higher, it's -9. But it's still not punishable, which is crazy, right? Because on hit, it's +5. Although it has a lot of pushback, it's still really good. Not to mention it wall splats, right? It's very good. The other check they have has a little bit more risk, but also way more reward. And this is the most annoying check, in my opinion. Forward 4. This is very annoying and it's very strong. It doesn't wall splat. It doesn't wall splat anymore? Let me check. It used to. I'm sure it used to. Oh, it does this mechanic now, the +21. Gotcha. Thank you, Croc. Thank you. Okay, let's go back. Let's talk about forward 4. This right here. So this is also a sidestep check, which is, in my opinion, super dumb. So not only does this force you to not sidestep, this also forces you to duck, right? And that's crazy for a move this strong. Because this is a 15 frame move, 15 frame high, with a very good range, right? The range it has is not bad. Not bad at all. For a move like this, I think it's like 2.5. Something similar to that. Still reach. Let me like check the range. Yeah, it's like 2.5, something like that. So you have to be very careful when it comes to stepping, because you don't want to get hit by this. Guaranteed back forward to like a slide mix-up instantly or something like that, right? You just don't want to get hit by this. You have to be very careful when it comes to sidestepping. And if you are ducking, even then you have to be very careful, because the other check he has is also a mid, which is also safe, right? So even ducking won't be a reliable answer to a hard read for him doing tracking moves, right? Because he has two of them, this and this. Very strong. And the other check he also has is also a very, very strong check, which is also a mid, is back 2. If they decide to check you with back 2, basically, it's I don't know what you can do against this other than just take the minus frames and hope for the best, right? The same with down forward 3. The thing about this is it is steppable and it has way less range than any of the other moves I checked. But not checked, I told you guys. But back 2 is also a very, very good check when it comes to just not that. When it comes to just deleting chip, that's one of the things it does, right? And it's safe in this game, and this is normal hit 30 damage, right? And the OK it gives is also not bad, like not bad at all. So you have to be careful about the back 2. I think back 2 is kind of underrated for this character. It's not as good as some of the other mids, but it's still very strong. The other checks he has, which is one of the most annoying in my opinion, is down forward 4-1. So this move you have to like ingrain in your brain that down forward 4-1 is like kind of the main mid that Shaheen players use. This is very strong, right? So this is a 23 damage mid. That is natural, so you can't block the second hit. It's not delayable, so they have to commit to the second hit. But it also has a third hit, which is a 3, right? And the 3, the last hit, is delayable. So this kind of forces you in a weird mind game that you will either challenge the down forward 4, right? The 4-1. Because you don't always want to guess afterwards, right? And I almost forgot. After this, the Shaheen player can go into stats, which is the main reason you want to check him. But you don't always want to check him, because if you check him, especially as Kazuya, you're gonna be at least -8. Because your checks are down forward 4, back 2, maybe down forward 1. Those are your checks. You're at least gonna be -8. You don't always want to check him. So that's why a lot of Kazuya players might just hell sweep them, right? Just insta hell sweep, say fuck you. That's why Kazuya players do that. They don't want to be -8. But yeah, you have to be very careful. So you have to be very, very careful. And when it comes to this move, also, this is also hard to step. So the first hit you can actually step it and punish before the second hit comes out, right? It's possible. But the second hit tracking makes this very hard if you're a little bit slow, right? Especially if you're doing a step electric, usually it's not gonna be that fast. A step down forward 2, that's fast. Step electric, a little bit on the slower side. So you have to be pretty careful when it comes to stuff like this. But this is doable. Very, very doable. And if you sidewalk, you can avoid it. Fully avoid it. But as I said, sidewalking Shaheen is kind of a death sentence because of the tracking moves I just listed. Like down forward 4, down forward 3, which isn't that big of a problem. This is the big problem. Forward 4. You're fucking dying. Like this is dead. Like that's almost 40 damage for you trying to sidewalk, right? And this is something you want to sidewalk. So this wall running too. I went a little bit off track now, right? This is one of the moves that you usually want to sidewalk, which is a mid, right? 17 frame mid while running move. Does chip damage, 9 chip damage, and it's +5, right? This while running move right now is more plus than Dragunov's, which is kind of crazy to me, but it's kind of a fact. This while running 2 has more plus frames than Dragunov does. So you want to sidestep this, right? There's a steppable. But then Shaheen goes like, oh no, forward 4, fuck you. No, don't step me. So that forces you to duck, because whenever you block this, let's say you block forward 4, right? It's -2. You would think this would be at least -9, right? Maybe. -2. -2. Broken move. Holy shit, it's strong. Not only with -2, with -2 with pushback. Like, you can't do anything. You literally can't do anything. You just go back in neutral and Shaheen just checked you for free. Shaheen literally checked your sidestep and sidewalk for free, having no risk unless you hard duck. Unless you hard duck, there's no risk. And imagine just hard ducking in this game, right? Obviously, you don't want to do that. Obviously. Especially since he has a safe mid check. Right? Or down forward 1. Or down forward 3. Or back 2. All these moves that he has. All of them mids. You don't want to just hard duck. But sometimes you gotta. Like, sometimes you gotta. That's just how strong this move is. Okay, so that's about forward 4, right? Then I was talking about down forward 4. To punish forward 4 if you banch backdash. Oh, that's one of the things I also wanted to mention, that this is hard to punish. This is not easy to punish. Like, if they do this and you backdash it, right? This is not that easy to punish because it has a lot of range. And sometimes you will backdash too far away, so it's important to space this correctly, right? And you also have to do it quickly. Its recovery ain't the best, but yeah, you have to be very, very, what's it called, aware of punishing it. Yeah, electrics is okay because you have like movement electrics, right? You can dash forward with electrics. Some other stuff would be a little bit harder unless they do like specific punish, but yeah, punishes every time. I mean, I'm just spacing correctly in the practice mode, right? In real matches, it's gonna be different. Yeah, down back 1 would also reach, like Kazuya down back 1. That's also good, but you usually want to launch this. It's just that good. Insane move. Okay, I was talking about down forward 4-1 before I, talked about some other stuff. So down forward 4-1, this is a mid-mid. That's natural. That has a 30th extension, right? So normally this move is -9, so you can't even punish it, which I don't understand why it's not punishable. Because the mix-ups it has is way too good for it to be safe. So it's -9 mid-mid, that's natural. Has a 3rd hit follow-up, which induces a mind game of you finishing or not. It also forces the opponent to respect you, which makes the stance transition way scarier. Because this stance transition also transitions into slide if you cancel it. How do you cancel this? I forgot. With down back 1 maybe? Not down back 1. There you go, down back. Right? Instant slide. So you have to be very careful. And this stance is very strong. I'm going to be talking about the stance in a little bit. But just be aware that after this, they go into stance, they will mix you up. I'm going to be talking about the mix-up options he has a little bit later. But yeah, down forward 4-1. Very annoying to deal with. If you sidewalk it, you can avoid it. And you can't even punch parry this, by the way. This jails. Like, I'm trying to punch parry this. You cannot punch parry it. So, have to be very, very careful. And yeah, just like Croc said though, down forward 4 also has a high follow-up. This one, right here. Which is a wall splat. So if you duck it, it's not that big of a problem. After down forward 4. But, if you are ducking after down forward 4 every time, you're kind of respecting the opponent too much, right? You might like hesitate pressing a button just because you did a mini duck there, but ducking there is good. Definitely not bad. Because Shaheen players might abuse this move at the wall just because of the free wall splat, because no one ducks it. Okay. So down forward 4-1, you have to realize the mind game there. Oh, and I almost forgot. So the last hit, I have to mention this. You cannot step it either direction, right? It basically tracks. Unless they delay it, it will be a tracking move, right? If you do block it, it's -13. I wish this was launch punishable. I really wish. Even if it was -15, I would have had a hard time punishing it, but I think it deserves to be launch punishable with how much it does. Maybe at least -14. I don't know, man. Why is it 13? Or maybe at least make it steppable. Just so I step after it. The mind game is still gonna be there because I'm, respecting the frames by stepping. I don't know. It's pretty strong. Very damn strong. So you have to be very careful about that. Okay. That's about down forward 4-1. Is another mid check that he has. Okay. What else to remember? Up forward 3 and forward 3. So up forward 3, the orbital, this one. So this one is not really a mid check per se, but it is one of the mids that you will see Shaheen players using. And the main way Shaheen players will use this is either for a low crushing property, they just orbital, which is, what it is. -7 orbital, launcher, pretty damn good. The other time they will sometimes use it is as a mix-up. They will do a slide mix-up with an orbital. Sometimes they do this, right? Because as I said, it's a safe mid. So why not? Why wouldn't they do it? So as a mid mix-up, they might sometimes do it. Or they might also do this for evasion. Evasive properties. It's a panic move as well because it's an orbital. So this is also very important to realize that it's good. And the other one is forward 3. So forward 3 is a countered mid launcher, which doesn't do the best of damage, but it's okay, right? Especially since it's like -5. I didn't remember the frames, that's why I checked first. I thought it was -6. Oh yeah, it's -5. But the big thing about it in this game is that in Tekken 7 this used to be a tracking move. Now you can step it. But you have to be careful which way you step it. This tracks to the right. Basically tracks. Like, it has such a good tracking to the right. There's that hit, right? Look at that. It's pretty decent tracking. If you want to step it, you go to the left. But even if you go to the left, you have to be pretty quick about punishing this. It also recovers quite quickly. Like, that electric I just did was not a punish. Yeah, be careful. It's a -5 mid countered launcher, which I think this still low crushes, right? It does. So yeah, low crushing mid countered launcher that's -5 on block. And tracks to one side. Pretty damn good. And recovers decently. Pretty damn good, right? Yeah. Pretty good. Okay. So forward 3 is another check you have to worry about. So forward 3 can't force you to step to the left, but as I said, stepping Shaheen is such a hassle just because of this move. And if you step to the left, I think this will track you a little bit more as well. Because this has a more track to the left than to the right. Okay. What else to talk about when it comes to mids? Yeah, this power crush. I didn't even want to talk about this yet, but since I just mistakenly just pressed it, let me just talk about this power crush. So, this power crush is also one of the dumbest moves in the entire Tekken 8, right? Entire game. So this power crush is basically up there with Victor's and now Senna's. It might be better as well. I'm not too sure if this actually better or not, right? But it's up there, literally up there. And Shaheen has it and no one talks about him because, as I said, no one plays this character. So 16 frames, very, very long range. It's like 2.6, I think. Let me actually check the range. 2.75 it hit, okay. Let me check. Bruh, 3? 3. Bro, wait. Actually 3. Okay, that was 3.2. I think it's like somewhat 3. Almost 3, it's like 2.9. So it's crazy range. It is steppable, right? It is steppable, don't get me wrong. You can step this. But as I said about Shaheen, good luck stepping this man when he has forward 4, right? Oh, also, it tracks to one side. How did I forget? Tracks to sides of right. This also kind of forces you to go to the left. But why does this have tracking to one side? I do not understand, right? Look at this, I cannot step it. I just can't do it. And it's a safe high, you can gauge your power crush with a lot of pushback, right? This -9 is basically fake just because of the huge pushback that it does. Like, it's a crazy move, okay? As I said, one of the best moves in Tekken, the safe high, what's it called? Heat engager, that power crushes. Why? Why? I don't understand. Okay, so be careful about this. If you do like duck instead, like hard duck, maybe you'll like get either the forward 4 or the back 3 +4 and, you know, punish them for it. But yeah, good luck hard ducking Shaheen. It's not a good idea. Definitely not. Do I always play on controller? Yeah, I always play the controller. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. Okay, what else? What other mids? Got back 1. I just remembered. Back 1 and what's the other one? Back 3. These two are so important. How did I forget them? Okay, so back 3 first. So back 3 is also one of the best moves he has and it's very strong. How many of them did I already say? So back 3, right? So it's a 19 frame mid. This is very, very similar to something like my forward 4, right? It's not as much plus. It's +3 instead of +4. But it's basically very, very similar, right? Instead of that 1 frame, it basically does the same thing. The range it has is very similar to my forward 4 as well. And it also has very bad tracking. I think my forward 4 is a little bit better range. But the big thing about this move is that its counter hit property is crazy. So this back 3 is not only a +3 mid, right? That forces crouch. It also on counter hit, I messed up, guarantees a down back to 1. So this is guaranteed. So outside of heat, I just went in heat by accident. Outside of heat, you just get a free heat engager, right? And at the wall, this is a wall splat into million damage. Fun, right? From a plus frame move. This is +3 on hit and on block. And on counter, he just gives you like million damage. Like it's at least 70 damage if you get the wall splat, right? Or if not the wall splat, you get a heat engager into an instant mix-up. I'll talk about the heat mix-up a little bit later, right? But that's messed up too. This character is just messed up in general. Okay, so that's about back 3, more or less. The way you beat this is you either sidestep or backdash away, but it's not that simple in real matches, right? Obviously. Okay, so that's about back 3. Now let's talk about back 1. So back 1 has the same startup frames, right? But way more range than back 3 does. If you look at this, it has way more range. So this can either be 0 or +1, and normally it is 0. So in that range it's +1, but normally it's 0. And it's a safe mid heat engager, right? That's 0, but you have to step it. You gotta step it. And the good thing about this is that it's steppable more or less both sides, right? But yeah, back 1 is an amazing move. It's crazy good. So safe mid hit engager that's 0 and forces crouch, right? Crazy strong. A lot of Shaheen players basically sidestep after this. They either jab or sidestep or do something fast, basically, right? That's what they usually do. And you'll see some Shaheen players do back 1, sidestep down forward 2 because they're baiting like a wall stank 4, right? They might do something like that if they sidestep right, down forward 2, for example. So you have to be very careful of back 1. Super strong. And not to mention, back 1 transitions into crouch, right? You can just instantly do a slide here, which I cannot do. Why can't I do a slide on P2 anymore? I suck. Right? So, yeah, I have to be very careful. There we go. Go solo. So if you respect the -0, not -0, 0, you're gonna get schmixed from full crouch. So either the slide is gonna come out. Why can't I do it, man? There we go. Or the other mix-up, which is usually that. I'm gonna talk about the full crouch mix-up in a little bit. Okay. So that's about back 1. It's an amazing move. For safe heat engager with mind games from full crouch, it's crazy strong. And it's also 0, right? Okay. So back 1 is also loaded, amazing move. Back 3, amazing move. Forward 4, amazing move. There are so many good moves. Forward 3 is also amazing, right? Very strong. Down back 2, I already mentioned this. This is very good as well. And just way too much stuff that's good. Even down forward 3 is amazing to have, right? Back 2 is great to have. Down forward 2 is good to have. Yeah. So that was about back 3 and back 1. I almost skipped through these. They're one of the most important mids in my opinion. Well, one of them. Not the most, but one of them. Okay, is that it about mids more or less? I guess I can transition to his lows now. I did mention this. So yeah, I can transition to lows. So down 4 is one of his lows, right? As a fast low, it's not the fastest, it's 19. But it has decent range, like horizontal range, it's not that bad. It's like 2.1 maybe? 2.5? It's like 2.5, it's pretty damn decent. So it's -12, a long range low, right? On forward 1, oh yeah, forward 1, I'll mention this after this. Thank you for reminding me. So this low has actually the chance of making you whiff your last tank punishment, right? This is how much range it has and slight pushback as well, right? So while staying 4-4, while usually is your punishment, it can actually just whiff. You just whiff it, right? If the Shaheen player just does this correctly. So it is -12, but you can also sidestep it. Not sidestep, you can sidewalk it. Sidestep it will track, more or less both directions. And I think sidewalk it will also track if you go to the right. So if you do step Shaheen, I think sidewalk left is pretty good to do. But other than that, it's just so weird to step him in general. Okay, that's down 4. Now let's quickly mention up forward 1. I forgot to mention this. This is also a very important mid. So up forward 1 is a new mid that he got. That's why I forgot about it. It's a jumping mid basically. That's +1 and it's a hit engager, right? It's 24, so it's not the fastest, but it's also not the slowest. You can float him, obviously, if you do something fast, right? But for a +1 mid, it's very good. But the biggest weakness it has is that it's steppable, right? You can step it, and if you do step it correctly, usually you're gonna get a big combo from the back, right? Like you sidestep left, maybe electric here, do something else. I just messed up, right? Maybe something like this, right? You get something. So it is risky for the Shaheen player if they are stepping, but if they are just not stepping, which usually they won't step just because this exists, this is strong. Safe +1 mid hitting agent at low crushes. Pretty damn good. Okay. That's about up forward 1, quickly mentioned it. And now let's talk about one of the most common lows that you will see. It's down 3. I think this is the most not powerful, but the most common and the most popular low that Shaheen has, which is this down 3. So down 3 is a -14 low, as you guys can see. So Kazuya does get the privilege of launching this. Some other characters also do launch this, like Jin or Raven, right? But Kazuya can launch this as well, so that's good. But the thing about down 3 is that it's 0 normally, right? Normally it's 0. But this can also transition into stance, which makes this +4. So you have to kind of assume that if you get hit by this, that's +4. You have to assume it. More or less, you have to assume it. Because almost everyone will go into stance and either check you with stance mix-ups, as I said, I'm going to talk about stance mix-ups later, or mix you up. So there are both options. Either the check, which is usually the 1, right? Or they can also do the cancel while standing 1. This is also possible, but usually it's the 1. Or they can mix you up with a slide mix-up immediately afterwards. They can do that as well. They can just cancel this to a slide like this. Something like this, which can come out pretty fast. So you have to be very, very careful of stuff like that. Okay, so that's down 3. I'm going to talk about the mind games afterwards with the stances. But yeah, that's more or less down 3. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this move... Saan do you think, Rafal? Also tracks decently well, right? It does decent tracking. I think you can sometimes sidewalk it, sometimes you can do it, but usually you won't be able to sidewalk it. Let me do a double sidestep. There you go, right? Sometimes in those situations you can do it. But usually it tracks pretty damn well. Okay, that's about down 3, which is usually the main low. And Croc just reminded me of sidestep 2 as well, so this is a new low that he got, which is absolutely crazy low. So this is a full screen low. Alright, hello. That reaches from like 2.8 maybe, something like that, right? It's a very, very long range low basically. It is 0, does 17 damage, and has a countered property which increases the frames, right? The biggest thing about this move is how much range it has and the potential of you getting mixed up from this far away, right? Like you're this far and a low can still be hit. You know, you can still be hit by a low. The good thing about this is that with Kaz, this is -13, you can actually punish this, right? This is launch punishable. That's one of the things that we have. It's very, very good in this matchup. That sidestep 2 we can launch. Same with down 3. Other things, it's not the best, but we can do this. So this is very good. Yeah, like range 3 50-50, right? Exactly. And something like this into down forward 3 might reach you as well in certain ranges, which can be a 50-50, right? Sidestep 2, or they can like maybe do something like this if they make you duck. Or maybe they do something else, who knows, right? Sidestep 50-50 from like very, very long range, as long as they do something that's also long range. Okay, so sidestep 2, be very aware of this, and that move is also almost impossible to track because, sidestep. Because it's very, very hard to predict which way the Shaheen player is gonna sidestep, right? I think sometimes you can step it if you predict the sidestep direction correctly, and sidestep the other way, like that, but you can't predict that. How would I know that the sidestep is gonna be either right or left? Because if they do the sidewalk right, you know, which is that direction, this will be hard to sidestep, harder. You can still do it, but it will be harder to sidestep. So you have to be careful. Yeah, sidewalk left still works. So I'm guessing you guys notice as well the pattern that sidewalk left usually works against Shaheen's moves, but you have to commit. Like he forces you to commit to a sidewalk, so he can just blow you up with a forward 4. Because of course he does. Of course he'll just do this and blow you up while also being safe. Nice, good character. I don't know why this move exists. It's so strong. Okay. It basically deletes these weaknesses. It actually deletes the weaknesses of sidewalk left just because forward 4 exists. Okay, so that's about sidestep 2. What else to cover about lows? I think those are the main 3 lows in the neutral anyway, outside of any like stance shenanigans or full crouch. Yeah, I think that's it, more or less. There's also down back 3-4, but I don't really count this as a low. This is more like a counter hit tool. It can work, but I don't really count it as a low poke, you know. Okay, let's actually go to what's it called? The full crouch mix. So after full crouch mix, I'll go to the stats. So full crouch, Shaheen is very crazy. Very, very crazy. That's why you'll see a lot of Shaheen players abuse the hell out of the full crouch moves. And not only that, the biggest thing about this game is that from a normal stance, right, this stance, right, you can also go to full crouch if you have like, if you just get used to it and use a slide mix-up, right? Just do this, cancel it fast, which you can do it very, very simply with down back, which puts you into full crouch, and then go for a slide mix-up, right? Something like this. So full crouch, very, very strong, just because the slide is so strong. This is guaranteed, and the OK is amazing after it, right? So that's one of the mix-ups, which is a slide. And the thing about slide is it gets Shaheen something like 33 damage, right? A little bit of chip as well, but it's basically 33 damage. And the reward you get for blocking something like this is not that big, which is what makes this so damn strong. Now if you do wall standing 4 combo, like with guns, right, and you do something like this, they get like 37. While he gets 33. Like the risk reward for Shaheen is really not that high. If you want a lot of damage, you have to electric this, and that's hard to do. You have to literally get up and electric it very fast, because if you're too slow, it won't work. You have to do it quickly. And this is the most damage that you can get, which is 51. Which is still not that high compared to the damage that he gets and the OK that he gets. So the risk reward on slide is crazy strong, right? It's crazy good. Okay, that's about slide more or less. Best way to punish it is with a wall standing 4, because electric is, you know, hard to do. You ain't messed up. Anything else doesn't really work that well, so gotta be careful about that. So that's about slide, and that's the low option, right? Lightning thing will follow. Now let's talk about the mid option, which normally they use from full crouch. It is full crouch down forward 2. This move is also hella busted, just because Shaheen is the one who has it, right? So this move is basically like my wall standing 1+2 in a way, which you know, it's -9. It's a full crouch move. Mine's a wall standing move, and it's faster, but this wall splats basically. It is slower, but it's not slow enough for you to react to it. So this and the slide is a pure mix-up. You cannot react to this, and at the wall, this will wall splat you, right? And safe. It's mid, but you can sidestep it. Usually you can do it, but it's hard to sidestep anyway. Especially if you're at the wall, good luck sidestepping this, right? Just risk getting hit by something else. But you can step it. Especially to the left, if you sidewalk, like sidewalk left, it works. But it tracks to the right. I don't know why. Why does everything Shaheen has track to the right side? Why is this a thing? I do not understand, but you can go left. You can't go left. If there's a wall to your left, well, good fucking luck. Good luck, bro. Or, even worse, if you're forced crouch by a back 3 and you can't go to the left, yeah, good luck. Good luck, bro. If you're P1, they do a back 3 and you can't sidestep left anymore, good luck. Nice character. Okay. Or back 1, right? Both forced crouch. Okay. So that's about the mid option. Usually this is the mid option. He also has some other mid options, but usually from full crouch, like if they just crouch in your face, that's gonna be it. If they want high reward, they might do a hop kick, right? Just to get the launch. They might do a wall standing 2 sometimes, which is, you know, riskier because launch punishable. But usually you'll see a hop kick. Or you can also see the orbital, as I already mentioned before. Okay. But now let's talk about, if in my opinion, one of the best moves he has from full crouch. Of course, slide is up there too, but it's wall standing 1. So this move, like, it was strong in Tekken 7. Now it's crazy. Now it's actually crazy. So it's a 14 frame mid check from full crouch, right? It's wall standing 1. It's a wall standing move. And it's a counter hit move as well. And just like back 3, which gives plus 14, exactly like this, this also gives a guaranteed down back to 1. This is crazy. This is like bonkers, right? So while standing 1, this is a +4 on hit, 14 framer. That's -2 on block. So yeah, -2. It tracks decently well, right? You can sidewalk to the left, but it tracks to the right. Like, bro, you can't make this shit up. Like, why? Who made this? I can't sidestep it, by the way. You have to sidewalk it. Why am I forced to sidewalk? You can sidestep on like the precise timing, but it's hard. Sidewalk is consistent, but the biggest problem about this move is that even if you make it whiff, this recovers very fast. Let's say I tried to punish it with electric. That was not a punish, right? Not a punish. Still not a punish. So I have to literally do it very... That was not a punish. Okay, that surprised me. The last electric surprised me, but yeah, this was a punish. You have to do it very, very quickly. It recovers super fast. So not only is it -2, not only is it the counter to heat engager with a wall splat property because it's down back to 1, right? But it also tracks to one side fully, tracks to the other side a little bit, but even if you sidewalk it, you have to like punish it with jabs to make it consistent. Like jabs or back 1-2, something like that, right? So you can't launch it, usually. Especially with electrics, you just can't launch it. So this move is bonkers crazy. So something like this might be pretty common. Doing back 1, I'm making block. So back 1 into wall standing 1, right? You might see this. You really might see this a lot because full crouch, wall standing 1, checking you, right? If you do something too slow, that's gonna check you. So you have to be very, very careful. It's the same with down 3. If it hits you, maybe they'll do a wall standing 1 check, right? You also have to be careful about stuff like that. Or the most common way you'll see it, especially against good Shaheen players, is that they'll just do this and while standing 1, because not only does this work against them as a mid mix-up, so if you do duck the slide, it's gonna hit you, even though it's, you know, it's just 4 damage, not a lot. But the main reason they do this is because most people mash, right? They mash because they don't want to get mixed up by a slide. Obviously, why would they want to get mixed up by a slide? They will mash to just keep you out of full crouch. And if the Shaheen player just times this correctly, because it's a fast move, right? That won't require that much skill to time this that much. This will counter hit you, and as I said, give him a free heat engage or a down back 2-1. And if you're at the wall, it gives a free wall splat to like 70 damage. So yeah, wall standing 1, amazing move. Holy hell, amazing move. It's one of the best full crouch moves in my opinion. Wall standing move that he has. I listed at least like 6 moves that I said that it was amazing, that it's the best move that he has, right? He's bonkers. The character is bonkers, like really, really dumb. Okay. I think that's it for full crouch, more or less, right? Unless I forgot something. Oh yeah, this. I just remembered. Yeah, Croc, thank you, man. Yeah, full crouch down 4. I almost forgot about the spinner Rooney, man. Fucking spinner Rooney. So full crouch down forward 4 is very, very toxic. Like this is so toxic. It's so damn toxic. So full crouch down forward 4 is another mix-up. It's a low mix-up, basically, that replaces the slide mix-up, right? Obviously, slide gives more reward, but this is basically less risk with still some plus frames. So this can go into the stance with down forward, which makes this +4. Cannot go into stance, which is normally +1. Or it also has a high follow-up with down forward 4-1. So these 3 options are basically what's going to happen usually. Usually you'll see the stance, right? You'll see this, or you might see the 4-1. But sometimes you'll also see the +1 variation without the stance, right? That's also possible. But, let's talk about this move. So this, if it's normally like this, you know, just normally, it is -14. But if you duck it from like longer ranges, your TP just whips. Right? Normally that doesn't happen, your TP usually works, but there are also ranges when it works, so you have to like be aware of that. But usually it works. So lost anyone too, but that is only if they do it with without the stance, right? But before I go to the stance, he also has the 1 version. right? So the one version basically is there for a mind game that if you do try to punish it, let's say I try to punish it in any way possible, I will get countered launched. And the crazy thing about this countered launch is that it doesn't tornado instantly, right? He still has a tornado and does a lot of damage. So it's crazy. This is a very, very good move. Just because that high has a countered launcher property, right? Okay, now let's talk about the stance transition. It kind of will remind you of Fang's full crouch down forward 4. It's not as impressive because Fang's is like +6, does a lot of damage, and it's natural with the high, but it's kind of similar. Okay, now let's talk about the stance. So if the stance transition happens, the frames do change, but what happens here is that he's -11, right? But he can't block in stance. But the big thing here, just like Croc said in chat, that if the Shaheen player cancels this perfectly, like just cancels it immediately in one frame, the most minus it is -12. So let me try to do it. Let me actually make him block this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it though. Maybe that's okay. Okay, I can't do it correctly. But they'll be able to block this basically. It's hard, so it's still worth almost always doing TP. But if they do it correctly, they can block this. So you have to be very careful of that. I can't do it, I don't play this character, right? I'm not practicing the stance cancels. But usually, if it kills while staying 4-4, it's gonna be more worth it just so you don't risk it. But most Shaheen players won't be able to perfectly stance cancel here, right? So you have to be careful. So the mix-up is either they do the high variation so you can't punish it, or you block it and you punish it, right? Usually with twin pistons because it almost always works. But the problem here lies in the hit property, right? When it hits you. So when this hits you, you're kind of stuck in a weird mind game of the stance, right? +4 into stance, and it's exactly the same way that +4 into stance with down 3 works, right? Down 3 mind game and this mind game is very, very similar. But what this does, which is kind of crazy, is this can loop. This is just hilarious, right? Because it stance cancels, cancel again, right? Stance, cancel it, stance, cancel, you just loop it. So you can just spin for eternity, right? You can do the same thing when it comes to down 3. You can just cancel into this. So you have to be aware that down forward 4 can't just come out in the stance, because they can very easily just cancel with down back and then do the full crouch down forward 4. The spin ruin the loop, yep. That's the Shaheen vortex. Okay, so you have to be careful about that. Not only that, obviously, right? You can also cancel into a slide there. So you have to be careful about a lot of stuff. You can also do like stance moves, but yeah. Now let's talk about the stance. I think it's time to talk about the damn stance. So in stance, he also has very, very dumb shit. One of the dumbest shit he has is also the cancel, right? Being able to cancel this so fast. Like, cancel is okay, right? You can cancel it. But it's so fast that the slide can come out almost instantly. It's that fast if you, like, just practice a bit, right? So that's messed up. So you have to look out for full crouch moves. They can even do stance, right? Stance into full crouch down forward 2. That's also possible. Especially at the wall, if they want a wall splat, that's what they will do. But now let's talk about the actual stance moves. So when he is in stance, he usually has a choice of either mixing you up or checking you, usually, right? The checking options he has is actually 2 of them. One is the while standing 1, insta cancel while standing 1, right? And this can come out really fast, like really fast. So you have to be careful about it doing something slow. Even something like 13, if they do this and do while standing 1, if they do it quickly, which they should be able to do, this will counter it you, right? I didn't do it quickly, but this will counter it you if they do it good enough, right? Because at +4, doing a 14 frame move, if you basically stance cancel in like 3 frames, you'll be able to counter it with this, which can be very damn strong. As I said, while standing 1 is amazing. But the other check, which is a safer check and it's easier to do, is the down 3 into 1. So this is a high check, right? And if you do press, this has exactly the same property as a while standing 1 does. So if I do something like stance 1, this is also guaranteed. I don't know whose idea this was. The +14 that guarantees down back to 1. I really don't know, but it's a thing that he just has. with the stance 1, it basically checks all of your buttons except for Power Crush or Rage Arts, right? Plus 4 into 12, Power Crush will beat this. You can also High Crush this, but as I said, he also has a mid check, which good Shaheen players will be able to do pretty quickly, the one standing 1. Or he can also mid check with a 2. This is also one of the options that he has, right? And the 2 is also a good option because this High Crushes. You cannot jab check this. So usually when you look at this, you see, okay, I'm plus 4. No, not plus 4, I'm minus 4. He's doing a 15 frame move. I can jab him, right? Normally, you cannot jab him. That jab crushes. So it's a mid check that beats jabs. You can beat it with down jabs, right? But you just have to be careful about doing too much predictable stuff. Okay, so down jamming here ain't the worst, but it will lose to slide mix-ups, which is crazy to think about, right? I just told you that down jabs lose to slide mix-ups. Why? I'll explain it right now. So what Shaheen players might do, and they might sometimes do it, is do down 3, cancel into slide mix-up down forward, right? And they will instantly do down forward for a slide mix-up. And what that down forward will do is low pair your damn down jab. It will do it by accident. So this is what will happen, right? Down 3, cancel down forward, right? They do it for a slide. I just did down back 1. And you just got low parried. He didn't mean to low parry that. He wanted to slide. But obviously he's just gonna take the low parry, right? So you have to be careful about down jabs here, because if they attempt to slide, you're just gonna get low parried. Unless they do it very fast, right? But usually you're gonna get low parried. It's the same way in this situation. If they do the stance cancel here and try a slide attempt, you also get low parried. Amazing, right? Great. Of course, if you do a mid, they're gonna get hit because they're doing something slow, but it's a mind game, basically. Okay, so that's about that. But now let's talk about one of the best mids he has in this stance. And I swear this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Like, it's so dumb. So, it's stance 1+2. There's already a lot of dumb mids he has. Like, back 1's a dumb mid, back 3 is a dumb mid, wall rank 2 is also a strong mid. It's not that dumb because it's steppable, but it's dumb because this exists. Okay, but this one, oh, this is also a dumb mid. I forgot to mention this. So, but this one, so this 1+2, right? So this is a plus frame, 19 frame mid. That's plus, right? It's +2 for Shaheen, and it forces crouch to you. And what that does, it forces crouch to both, actually, not to you. It forces crouch to both. What that does is it blocks your sidestep right, and this is the only situation when you want to sidestep to the right. One of the few situations. Because what Shaheen can do here is just wall standing 4, and you cannot do anything about this unless you're P2. So what I mean by that is, let me just make him do this. Oh my goodness. I'm missing putting this into wall standing 4. So what can happen here if you're P1 is you just get hit by wall standing 4. You cannot step this. Maybe Lily can, I'm not sure, right? You can't step it. GG, well played. You can't power crush it because you need to crouch cancel, right? Crouch cancel power crush. Unless you do it super fast, it's impossible. I can't do it. I just did it. But it wasn't even a punish. My power crush sucks. He just blocked my power crush. Even though I crouch canceled it. I literally can't do anything here. I can't down jab. I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is rage art. Wait, can I even rage art? +2. I can rage art. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because I'm P1. If I'm P2, this changes. Because as I said, it forces crouch. If the same thing happens while I'm P2, I can actually sidestep launch this. Right? But if you're P1, GG, well played, you can't do anything and you have to respect the wall standing 4. It's a risk-free mid-check. It's so dumb. Why does this exist? This right here. Risk-free -6 mid-check. It's very dumb. You can't do anything about this. Maybe if you have a kick parry, you can like crouch cancel kick parry. Maybe. But Kazuya can't do anything. Literally nothing. Okay, so this is very dumb. But I almost forgot to mention that this move is also a heat engager, right? It's a heat engager +2. And in heat, I think it launches. I'm pretty sure it launches, right? Why am I blocking it? Let me just check it. It fucking launches. Yeah, you can't do shit if you're P1. So eat the slide. Yeah, just eat the slide. Just respect it. Just respect it, bro. Just respect it so they do it again. So just respect this just so they do this again. And just keep respecting it, bro. Don't sidestep it. Don't do anything. What you do here is at the start of the match, you just do this throw, make them break it and change sides. That's just what you do. Just so they can't do that shit anymore. I swear, what the fuck, man. It's crazy. Dude, this character's cracked. He's actually cracked with how much dumb shit he has. Cracked character. Okay. The other stuff he also has from stance is this 3. And this 4. So let's talk about these 2 moves. So usually you won't see this move almost at all. This 4, you almost will never see this. The main reason you will never see this is because if they want a low mix-up, usually they'll slide or they'll do this, right? Usually. That's why you won't see this that much. Sometimes you will, but it's pretty rare. So let's talk about the 4 for now. So the 4 is a 20 frame low, minus 14, plus frame, but the counter to guarantees a back 4. So it's not that bad, it also low crushes, right? You can't jab this. You can? Whoa. Not low, high crushes. Yeah, at the end frames you can't jab it. You can at the startup frames though, weird. Or maybe you can. Nah, it doesn't high crush. Weird. I thought it high crushed. Okay. But I'm pretty sure even Shaheen players don't know that. It's kind of bad. Yeah, no one uses it. Like, that's why I don't know. No one uses this move. They don't use it as low mix-up. They have better options, basically. So that's one thing that he does have, just to mention it. And the other thing, I have to mention this move as well. This is also another mid I have to mention. Fuck. Okay, wait. Let me go over the last one. So the 3, this can also work as a slide mix-up, by the way. If they force you to duck, they might use a 3 here as a mid mix-up, even though it's minus 12. It, you know, gives a decent combo. It does instant tornado, but it's decent. It's not bad, especially if they want to change sides. It's one of the few things that does that. Change sides as a combo. Guru, thank for follow, by the way. I don't know why the notification didn't work. So yeah, that's one of the things. But usually you all see this because he has a broken 1+2. Why would anyone do that as a mix-up like this and risk the punish when they have this? Why? It even does chip damage. Why would you? Right? Okay. Now let's talk about the 4-3+4. So this move. So 4-3+4 is a +3 mid-mid, right? And Shaheen players like to use it sometimes. And they will usually use it in situations where they think you won't step, right? It does have slide tracking, but usually you will be able to step it. They just track me to the right again. What's with this character and sidestep right? I just can't step it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, you can step it pretty easily to the left. But when this does get blocked, you have to remember that you're basically in the same mind game as with down 3 stance or full crush down forward 4 stance when you're -4. This time you're -3, it's not that much minus, but it's basically the same kind of mind game, so you have to be aware of what's happening. They might slide here, they might while staying 1-check you, they might 1-check you, they might do the 2 for the high crushing, you know, the jab crushing is also a mid-check. They might do a lot of stuff, so the mind games are the same here. You have to be very careful. Oh, yeah. I think the biggest difference about this is that they're forced into stance. I don't think they have a choice about going into stance or not, right? That's the biggest thing about it. Okay. That my head hurts already. So, that's about this, more or less, stance stuff, right? The biggest thing you have to look out for is the slide and the 1+2. Those are the 2 biggest things. Game barrier breaking grabs, you just have to drill it. You just go in practice mode and practice. That's all you do. Okay, I think it's time to talk about heat. Okay. This character, man. Every time I talk about the high tier or top tier and strong characters, I just talk so much just because how much shit they have. So let's talk about Heat. So first, one thing to mention is that his Heat burst is very good. His Heat burst reaches from Narnia, right? That hit. Let me see. It reaches very far. That blocked. So amazing Heat burst, right? Reaches very far. Almost impossible to whiff this due to a backdash. Almost, right? Reaches very, very far. So that's good. Very, very good. Have to look out for that. But obviously, when in Heat, there are millions of other things to look out for. Not just the Heat burst, right? One thing, which is the most obvious one, is the Heat smash, right? So they will just do this Heat smash and be in a +6 stance situation. So this +6 stance situation is exactly the same as the, what's it called, the down 3 and the full crouch situation. But the biggest difference is that it's +6, which makes his while standing 1 check beat rage arts and power crushes. In other situations it doesn't do that. In here it does. And they do this shit on purpose, right? Whenever you see the patch notes, they're like, oh, rage arts beats this because it's way too little frames, let me just buff it. This is what they're doing, right? They'll pay attention to stuff like this just so rage arts don't beat shit. Exactly why they're doing it. They have an option. Even though Shaheen just can cancel, you know, just cancel the stance and block the rage art, maybe. No, that's too hard for Shaheen players though, right? Way too hard. Way too hard for Shaheen players, so yeah, you gotta make it beat it. Yeah, it can't counter hit it because rage arts can't get counter hit. It's weird like that. But hey, it beats it. Oh yeah. And it beats power crushes, which is even more of a problem in my opinion. Okay. So that's one thing about it. The other thing about it is that if it whiffs, let's say it whiffs. Good luck punishing this. Good fucking luck, right? I just sidestepped it. Okay, I know it's coming. I sidestepped it. The fuck do I do? It even tracks a bit, right? There's a bit of tracking. What do I do? Like, bro, what do I do? Laser. He can even do crouch cancel, bro. If I laser, oh my god. He can even crouch in that stance. He can just avoid the laser too. There we go. Maybe they won't do it, right? Like, this is crazy to me. Maybe I can do that, but even then he can, as I said, crouch. I think he has enough time to crouch there. Maybe do something like this, and that's if I do it perfectly. In a real match I won't be able to do this shit. I just won't. Right? So this Heat Smash is one of the few Heat Smashes that you basically can't punish on whiff. It's very hard to punish it. Of course it's possible, right? Even if you... like, sometimes even interrupt it. Sidestep into... press something that will hit here, basically. Maybe back 4 will hit. Oh my goodness. It's still garbage, right? Whatever you're gonna get. But... you just basically can't punish it well. You just can't do it. For the reward Shaheen gets for this Heat Smash, you just can't punish it. It's very, very similar to Lars's. Very similar. Oh yeah. So that's about the Heat Smash. More or less, you have to look out for it. Like, really, you have to look out for it. 2-3 and down 4-1 on hit situation. Yeah, on hit situations, I think they're self-explanatory. Let me just talk about them anyway. So when this hits you, I talked about this move already, right? When this hits you, he is in a lot of plus and stance. So the mix-up here is gonna be very, very mix-up oriented. Like, he's basically gonna usually slide. Either slide or 1+2. So it's the same with 2-3. 2-3, stance cancel. +10, stance. +9, stance. So you have to look out for this. The stance mix-up I already explained, but usually in these situations they're gonna go for either slide or 1+2. They want to stay safe, they will 1+2. And 1+2 is dumb. I talked about this move already, right? The stance 1+2, which is basically this, it's so damn dumb because they can just do this for free as a slide mix-up and still be plus and still check with down forward 4. Not down forward 4, while standing 4. Okay, so that's amazing. And yeah, we also can't power crush. Yeah, Oh, I forgot this. Stance down forward 1. Yeah, before I continue my heat, let me just mention this. I forgot to stance down forward 1 too. So stance down forward 1 is a new move. There's a 15 frame mid. So it's -5 by itself, but it also has a high follow-up, which is -4. Right? You can duck this, but the down forward 1 basically creates that mind game. It does create that mind game. Oh my god, not the bots, bro. On my YouTube vid too. Wait, let me... Okay, YouTube, let me turn off my notifications. Guess that this will not be a good sight. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's continue on heat. As I said, with this though, it just creates a mind game and you have to duck the high. Just have to remember it's a thing. Okay. So in heat, the biggest thing in heat that I need to talk about is that he has a full crouch down up 2, right? He has this even in normal stance, outside of heat, right? You can just buffer the down and then do an up 2, and this will just come out. And that's a high, that's +2, which is pretty decent, it's not that bad. But it becomes very, very strong in heat. When it becomes a guard break with +13, right? And this +13 means he can do a back forward 2, the blue spark version, right? How do we do the blue spark version? You just do it fast, there we go. And that's guaranteed. There we go, right? So that's guaranteed. 28 damage, guaranteed. But the biggest thing about this, which is the biggest threat, is when this happens at the wall. So when a Shaheen player is basically doing this and mixes you up at the wall, they just do a 4-2-3 here. This is also guaranteed and gives himself +13. So he can loop his mix up. So what you'll see is basically something like this. If you don't duck it, they'll just do something like this and then do it again if they buffer it correctly. Let me actually try to buffer that correctly. So let me do this, right? Just get strong. And just do it again. I buffered it incorrectly. How do I buffer it? I guess I buffered quite early, right? I'm pretty sure that's possible. I think I've done that before. There we go. Right, he can just loop this. A good Shaheen player will be able to loop this. And that's crazy. Like, this is crazy. You just think about it for a little bit. That's crazy. Because down, like, up 2 is bufferable. In any situation, in any time, in any way, you can buffer it. I can literally do 1-2 and buffer it at the start of 1 and then do that. If I buffer it long enough, right? It's still possible. There we go, I did it. But it's harder, obviously, because of the jabs. They recover fast. But you can technically do it after anything. Technically. It's bufferable after anything and anything. So you have to be very, very careful, especially the loop situation I just talked about with 4-2-3, right? But at the wall, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna duck? He has this. Basically, this will mix up with the guard break. And if you block this, they might just do the guard break instantly, right? So you have to be very careful. Like, very, very careful. You can also check you with down forward 4-3 here. So if you try to mash either something other than power crush, this will also wall splat you. So, yeah, be very careful. Okay, have I seen the loops outside of heat? I actually haven't seen that. No, have not seen that. But yeah, be careful of the guard break. Usually when you'll see this is after heat engagers. So what Shaheen players are gonna do is do a heat engager and then mix this up with wall running 2. It's a pure mix up. You can't do anything, right? You have to guess. And if it's at the wall, then you have to guess for your life, basically, because you're gonna be in a loop. The Shaheen vortex, basically. So be very careful about this move. Very, very careful. It's super strong. It basically forces you to hard duck. It will just hold it down back. It forces you to do that. If you guess correctly, you will get a launch. But one thing about this move is that whenever you do duck it, let me just go into heat. Just do it once, right? Whenever you do duck it, it's also important to punish it correctly. If you do it too fast, this happens, right? You actually have to wait a little bit and then punish it. If you do it too fast, you'll get nothing. This is nothing. You get nothing. So you have to force the Shaheen player to take a lot of damage, but you also have to be careful because that was not a punish, right? If you want something like very consistent, you are staying 1+2 his Kaz. But this is like nothing. This is nothing. Actually nothing. But if it kills, it's still worth it. It's worth to go for this if it kills because it's consistent, right? But just wait a bit to while standing 2 if you want like a decent launch with good damage. That's basically how you punish your Kaz. Okay. Yeah, that's about that. That's the end about heat. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? So this is the biggest thing about heat, right? That guard break. It's very, very strong. I talked about heat smash. I talked about heat burst a bit. I think that's it, more or less, right? No perfect throw game. No, he has only 1+2 throw. Let me think if I'm forgetting something. I mean, most likely I am. Like speed labs aren't perfect. Low heat smash. Oh, true. Okay, let's end it with that. I forgot about it. So let me just showcase that as well. So the thing about Shaheen is that he has 2 heat smashes. I just remembered. And the second heat smash comes from his stance. So the way the stance works, I already explained it. Another low mix-up basically gets added to the arsenal of Shaheen, right? And the big thing about this is that it's very fast. It does say it's 20, but you can't really react to it or anything, right? But when you do duck it, it is -14. You have to punish it, right? With Kaz, you down back 1-2. I would say electric it, but no. It's really not worth it. I just did it, but it's really not worth it. The block stun is very weird. And you won't have that much time to actually, you know, confirm it that well and do it correctly, basically. Just down back 1-2. That's how you punish it well. You can also back 1-2, right? But down back 1-2 is a heat engager, so much better in that regard. Unless you don't have heat, then you can do whatever you want, right? If back 1-2 wall splats, then do that. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's it though. Damn, I talked so much. I wonder how much that was. Okay, that was like an hour or something. Usually speed labs take this long. Why? These last speed labs are taking so long. So, yeah, YouTube, big thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully it was helpful. Most likely I didn't cover everything, but hopefully I covered some things. Maybe it's gonna be useful. But yeah, once again, thanks for watching, YouTube, and till the next one.